In this module, we'll train you how to power on and power off equipment. For powering on equipment, if you're using a system with lasers, or if you require incubation, you must turn on the system at least 30 minutes prior to imaging. This allows enough time for the lasers to reach full power, and for the incubation systems to equilibrate. Some incubation systems might require more time. Also note that if you're acquiring large datasets, it's good practice to check the hard drives ahead of your imaging to ensure that there's enough space on the PC to save your data. Similarly, if you're imaging live samples over long periods, you may also want to ensure that Windows updates are turned off to avoid PC restart in the middle of your acquisition. In order to turn on an instrument, first you must identify switches with numbered stickers and proceed to turn them on in order. Importantly, you do not want to turn on any switches that are not numbered, as it'll impact the ability for the microscope to function. On this system, number 1 is optional because it's for gas and temperature, so we're going to skip that if you're not doing incubation. There's number 2 for main power, then number 3, number 4, and number 5 is the PC. Now you're going to log into Windows, but you don't want to turn on the software until the hardware has had a chance to fully load. For most PCs, there are 2 logins. That's the admin and everyone else. The password is simply all lowercase password. For Zeiss systems, your lab will have their own Windows login. You can ask your specialist or lab manager for that password. Note that some software does not work well if there is more than one Windows user logged in. If you're unsure whether or not someone else is logged in, you can restart the computer. Log on to Windows. Launch the software only after all the hardware is fully powered on. Powering off. Before you power off the instrument, it's important to leave the microscope in a position or condition that will avoid collisions for the next user. The first thing you're going to do is remove your sample. If using immersion lenses, you'll have to clean them. Take a dry Kim wipe and remove as much excess oil as possible. Never reuse the same part of the Kim wipe more than once, and just throw them out. Then you'll take a fresh Kim wipe and use the cleaning solution provided. All of these supplies will always be available for you. Start in the center and with circular motions make bigger and bigger circles. Once, twice, and a drying step. You can also clean your sample the exact same way. Detailed instructions about cleaning lenses will be provided in a separate video. You can see the link in the description below. Once you've removed your sample and cleaned the lens, you'll want to move the lens downward to the lowest position. You should also move to the lowest magnification. On this system, we're doing it manually because it's not automatic, but most will move when you switch them on the computer. Also, make sure the stage is centered. Here's an example of a not centered stage. By centered, we mean that the lens is right in the middle of the sample holder. Most of the time it is centered, but occasionally some folks might use glass bottom dishes and it might be in the far corner. Once your microscope is in a safe position to power off, then you can start the power off procedure. First, you'll want to shut down the software. For some software, you'll have to wait until the software fully powers off before turning off the hardware. Turn off, wait for the progress to proceed, then log out of Windows. Then you can shut down the PC and proceed to turn the hardware off in reverse order. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we skipped 1. If you're the first user of the day, the system might be covered, so you can remove the dust cover and if it's applicable, the drop cloth. If you're the last person at the end of the day, you're going to want to cover the microscope to avoid dust getting in the body. You can put it over the microscope stand and cover these components of the light path, spinning disc, etc. And just make sure not to disconnect any wires during these steps. Alright, now that you know the powering on and off procedures, you're almost ready to get started. Make sure to check out the lens cleaning video to keep the equipment fresh and clean for the next user. Thank you for watching and happy imaging!